Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about moral relativism. Relativism is a philosophical view that what is true or false is relative, whether from the subject's or an individual's or society's point of view. Relativism rejects absolutes and asserts that everything is a matter of one's or society's opinion or point of view. Moral relativism is a philosophical view that what is morally right or wrong is based on the subject's or society's point of view. Moral relativism rejects moral absolutes or objectivity and asserts that everything is a matter of one's or society's opinion. There are two types of moral relativism. On the one hand, subjective moral relativism is the notion that what is morally right or wrong depends solely or entirely on what someone believes. So if someone believes that this is the right thing to do, just because they believe it, it makes it so. It makes it morally right. On the other hand, social moral relativism says that what is morally right or wrong depends entirely solely on what society believes about it. Now you may wonder, what's at stake here? Various surveys show that most college students do not believe in moral absolutes or objectivity. So when a lot of people believe this, we have to investigate it, we have to interrogate it. And Peter Kreeft, he's a philosopher at Boston College, says that moral relativism is the single most important issue of our age. So let's review what people have said about moral relativism. The Greek historian Herodotus argues that custom is the king over all. Now, he based that statement based on an observation of the burial practices between the Greeks and the Colossians. The Greeks believed that it was wrong to eat the dead, and so they buried their fathers and mothers, whereas the Colossians, their neighbors, believed that it was right to eat the dead. Two different cultures, two different sets of morality, it seems. Protagoras, the Greek philosopher, ancient Greek philosopher, said that man is the measure of all things, implying that what is right or wrong is determined by humans, man. Ruth Benedict, the famous American anthropologist, said that normality is culturally defined. And she based that statement after decades of research in indigenous cultures, concluding that what is normal or what is moral is culturally defined. Thus, we seem to have the situation in which different cultures have different morality. Are there some reasons to think that moral relativism might be desirable? One, we should be conscious of projecting our strong preference for today's culture as if they are this rational standard of morality. Two, we should be cautious of reasoning that just because actions or beliefs are different, that they are necessarily wrong. Maybe they're just different, not wrong. Third, we should be tolerant of other people's beliefs and customs. Now, toleration or being tolerant is a virtue of the democratic society, and I think moral relativism can teach us that. So far, I have defined what moral relativism is, what people have said about it, and some potential benefits. But in this and the next few slides, I want to examine potential problems. First, moral relativism implies that it is impossible to criticize people who belong to other societies. Now, in order to criticize other people, not being judgmental, but just criticize their behaviors and actions, we need some sort of standard to evaluate. But moral relativism rejects any idea of independent standard. Next, moral relativism implies that persons and societies are infallible, and infallible means without error. To say truth or what is morally right depends entirely on one's or society's beliefs, implies that one cannot be wrong about it. But does it make sense to say that one can never be wrong about morality, or that society can never be wrong? Third, the idea of moral progress is called into doubt. Now, humanity has made moral progress through the ages. We no longer accept certain evil practices. However, moral relativism has a difficult time explaining this. Fourth, moral relativism implies moral equivalence, meaning that sincerely held moral beliefs are just as good or true as those of any other. Suppose someone believes that it is morally okay to kill someone, but you believe that it is morally wrong. Now, moral relativism implies that your belief is no better than the beliefs of any other person, which seems implausible. Fifth, let's look at the claim that different cultures have different morality. That statement is ambiguous between two readings. On the one hand, people in different cultures believe different things about morality, and on the other hand, there is a different morality. Let's go back to the Greek historian who said that custom is the king over all. Now, he observed two different burial practices between the Greeks and the Colossians. Two different cultures, two different moralities, seems. However, the Colossians ate their dead because that was their way of showing respect for the dead. The Greeks buried their dead out of respect for the dead. So seemingly different moral practices have the same moral principle. We should respect the dead. Sixth, moral relativists argue that there are no cross-cultural or universal moral principles. However, some of these fundamental moral principles are cross-cultural and universal, meaning that if you study different ethical systems, different religious systems, different philosophical systems, they all agree on these few moral principles. First, help those in need. That's the principle of beneficence or benevolence. Do not harm others. That's the principle of non-malfeasance. Do not deceive others. The principle of truth-telling. And do not violate the law of the land. Finally, moral relativism is self-defeating because it asserts that all moral rightness is relative. But that statement, all moral rightness is relative to an individual or a culture or a society, is objectively true. If that's true, then all truth or all moral rightness is relative is objectively false. So it follows that moral relativism is self-defeating or self-contradictory. I want to conclude today's lecture by sharing this meme that I saw on social media back in 2021. Thank you for listening.